There's a famous saying that history teaches you more about the historian than it does about history. I mean, you want to know about life in 18th century England, then pick up Edward Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. You'll learn a little about the Romans and a lot about how an English gentleman of the establishment viewed that time. And this quandary of historical narrative is never more true than when you discuss indigenous history of North America. For a long time, Native Americans were nothing more than cartoon characters, a form of Cossacks in early Hollywood movies, who displayed lots of savagery and very little morals. Now, in the 21st century, those views, of course, have changed. And in an odd return to Jean-Jacques Rousseau's noble savage, indigenous people are often portrayed as kind of perpetual victims, people who have no agency over their own decisions. And in that long course of historical judgment, there's one single figure that best encapsulates it: Pocahontas. Welcome to Crime Waves. This week, it's Henry C. Lee. He's a living legend in law enforcement. Originally a Taiwanese police officer, he came to America with a young wife and $50 in his pocket. In the 1970s, he went to university and began PhD research with this crazy idea in his head. He was going to link the new science of DNA with detective work. And he went on to crack a series of high-profile murder cases, the most famous being the wood chip killing that gave rise to the Fargo movie and TV series. He's testified in famous criminal cases like the O.J. Simpson trial and the Phil Spector murder. He was called in by the U.S. government to investigate the possibility of a second shooter at the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to have Dr. Lee join us to talk about all those other cases. But this story begins with Dr. Lee sitting in his office with 4 senior police chiefs, and his secretary walks in to say, this man, Wayne Newton, wants to talk to him. And it ends with Henry C. Lee 60 feet under the city of London, searching for the mystery of Pocahontas.
So Pocahontas is something dear in my heart. I still remember in 1999, one day, my secretary in commissioner's office,
yes,
her name is Laura. Laura ran to my office, said, Dr. Lee, Mr. Newton called. Who is Mr. Newton?
Mm-hmm.
The Wayne Newton. I said, I don't know that guy. Tell him I'm busy. Do you know I'm in a meeting because I have 4 police chiefs come to see me. They try to develop a regional task force. So Laura said, please, Dr. Lee, do me a big favor to talk to Mr. Newton. The 4 chiefs all look at me, say, Dr. Lee, you don't know who is Wayne Newton? I said, never heard of him. They all started laughing because when I come to this country, I was so busy. I have to do 3 jobs to earn enough money to pay the tuition and to support my family. I worked at NYU Laboratory Medical Center as a technician. So I'm pretty good if any of you need the injection of a
vaccination or
vaccine, let me know.
Yeah.
And so I work during the day. Then I goes to class. Then weekend, I teach Kung Fu and Karate to earn extra income. Evening, I run to the restaurant, wait on tables. So I'm pretty good in waiting table too. I can make cocktail too. And so make a long story short, I don't have time to watch football, just like the O.J. Simpson case. They said, the O.J. Simpson. I said, who is the O.J. Simpson? Oh, no, I don't watch football.
Right.
I don't go to entertaining or Las Vegas show. So I don't know who is Wayne Newton. So I pick up the phone. I say, okay, Mr. Newton, what kind of trouble you're in? Because usually rich, famous people looking for me, generally they get in trouble. Either kill somebody or sexually assault somebody or some woman claim the baby is his, right? So others say, no, Dr. Lee, I'm not in any trouble. I just want to make an appointment to see you. I said, okay, how long you want to meet with me? He said, about 3-4 hours. I said, next year, May. He said, next year, May. I said, my schedule pretty tight. He said, how about 30 minutes to 1 hour? I said, okay, next Friday. So I tell Laura, set up next Friday. The following week, Friday.
And you still had no idea who Wayne Newton was?
No.
Okay.
But everybody explained to me now who is Wayne Newton. And Laura starts singing Dankeschön. That's Wayne Newton's song. Later I learned he only had one song. The rest that he just used other people's song. Anyway, on Friday we have a legislative hearing on police profiling. I'm the commissioner. I have to go defend the department. The legislators that time say state trooper hand out a lot of ticket. Local police hand out a lot of ticket. And one of the senators, State Senator Evan Penn from Bridgeport said 98% of the ticket hand to the American black. Is this profile? Of course, that's the fact. So, as an administrator, you also have to know what statistic means. As a senator, your figure is correct, except in that area of Bridgeport, almost 100% is American black. So obviously the ticket predominated is the minority. I say, if you go to Foxwood Casino, I will tell you almost 60 to 70% the ticket hand to the Asian. Because early days, the New York people travel fast, driving to Connecticut, to the casino. They got a lot of tickets. So statistics is important, but you have to look at it, how it represents the fact. So the legislative body agree with me. But meanwhile, my chief of staff called me urgent, bid me, call me. That had no cell phone. It's a big two-way radio. I said, what's going on? He said, Dr. Lee, please come back. I said, why? We're going to have a riot. I said, have a riot in the headquarters? Wayne Newton is here. I said, okay, just tell him wait. So meanwhile, my bodyguard, Sergeant Sudo drove me back to the headquarters. And guess what? Couple hundred ladies surrounding Wayne Newton. Wayne Newton very patiently take picture with them, hug them, autograph. The trooper guard headquarters said, Dr. Lee, finally somebody more famous than you showed up. Usually people asking me for autograph, asking me to take a picture. So I walk in. I did not even know we have that many ladies working the headquarters. Usually we don't see them. And they all showed up. So I walk in, I said, Mr. Newton, come to my office. You have 30 minutes. He walked in with his lawyer, his security guard, chief of security. His name is Bear. He's literally like a big bear. Started seeing and 6, 7 people. So we sit down. I said, okay, what you want? What you want? Why you want to meet with me? Dr. Lee, I want you to find Pocahontas. Dr. Hill, you tell us Pocahontas.
So when the American colonists arrive in Virginia, the colony of Virginia back in the 1600s, Captain Smith gets captured by the local native indigenous band. And Pocahontas is purportedly, and there's a lot of legend, there's a lot of stories around it, and as you guys can imagine, it's pretty controversial. She is purported to have an affair with Captain Smith and to save his life. And it's a legend that has gone down through American history, and it's a legend whose lesson has changed through the time, depending on when it is. But she is an absolute pivotal character in American history. And now you have Wayne Newton, who in the late 90s was probably the most well-known, biggest country and western star in the world, sitting in an office with his bodyguard and a lawyer, meeting the top forensic investigator in the world, saying, find me Pocahontas. Dr. Lee, what happens next?
Okay. So I said, who is Pocahontas? He looked at my face, think I'm joking. I really don't know who is Pocahontas.
Right.
But my wife knows Pocahontas. My son, my daughter, everybody knows Pocahontas. My daughter, my granddaughter said, Granddad, I have this video about Pocahontas.
Yes.
So 2 of us sit in front of the television set for 1 hour. Disney World have a movie on Pocahontas. After 1 hour, I've become an expert in Pocahontas. Let me tell you.
But why does Wayne
It's all wrong, okay?
Why does
Let
Wayne
me tell
Newton
you.
want to know this? I mean,
Because this is the movie. She is a legend. Because in 16th century, when British Captain Smith, they landed in Virginia, that Indian tribe killed most of them. And Pocahontas, that time, only 14 years old, and saved Captain Smith's life. Meanwhile, Captain Smith in capital, he teach her English. And Pocahontas convinced his father. Her father is the chief of the tribe. Let captains release Captain Smith and the rest of the crew. So later, Captain Smith, their ship come, they always visit the chief and Pocahontas. It's not like movies say she had an affair or married Captain Smith. They did not. She married a different sea captain called Captain Raphael, a French person. They married. So I think in 1626, I don't remember that much anymore, the exact year. And they decide Queen of England want to sign a treaty with the Indian in the United States. So Pocahontas represents a father. Took 10 briefs, traveled to England. Just that alone. A 16 years old young lady, Singapore, traveled to England, not by plan.
Yes.
The courage, really wonderful thing. When I read that, I did a lot of checking on history book or original document. I feel so honored. So I tell Wayne Newton, I will do it.
But just Dr. Lay, I still don't understand. Why is Wayne Newton fascinated with Pocahontas?
Now I share. Wow, you're a good detective, a good professor. Why? Why? That's the question I ask her. Why? I ask her Wayne Newton. I said, why? You're already famous. You don't need media publicity anymore. He said, Dr. Lee, very few people know Wayne Newton, 0.25% of Indian blood from that tribe. Same tribe as Pocahontas.
Right.
He said Pocahontas went to England on a peace mission. Never got back. Never got back.
Right.
Our country spends so much energy, money on other things. Why don't fund the first American female, the first one, went to England on peace mission? I heard that. I said, Wayne, I will do it. He took out a checkbook, said, how much, Dr. Lee, you need for advance? I said, 0. I said, that's the least I can do to help to bring that peace mission history back to U.S.
Wow. So you have now got a 450-year-old mystery to solve. A 16-year-old woman now, but of her time woman, has gone to negotiate with the British royalty. Good luck with that. As an Irish guy, I know how that's going to end up. But so she goes to negotiate. But do we know where her body is? Do we have any idea where
that's next?
Okay, please. This is amazing.
All right. So Wayne Newton said, Dr. Lee, you just like everybody. Tell him I'm such a honest and honorable person. He said he spent so much money, hire private detective, hire investigator, forensic scientist. They took his money, never found Pocahontas. So I said, Wayne, but nothing is free. When I found Pocahontas, I want you to set up a scholarship at University of New Haven. That's how I got all the contributions. I made a mistake when I learned from my mistake. I said, when I found Pocahontas, I thought going to be 1, 2, 3. Go to England, find a grave, dig it up, do some DNA, some good scholarship for the student. Guess what? I did not find it.
What?
Okay, so the next chapter, so went to England.
And you're paying your own expenses. So you're paying your own expenses. You're flying there on your own thing because you're going to
expenses Wayne Newton pay.
Okay.
The airport.
All right.
I had a team. Initially, just myself, one person. I usually contact my counterpart, my in every country, we have a sort of a network, friends. So I call the corner of, I think in Essex or London or someplace area. So he said, okay, Henry, what can I do for you? Usually I don't call them. I said, I want to find some person. He said, of course, you help us so much. We'll do it. He said, who is the person? I said, Pocahontas. He said, well, anybody else will do it. But Pocahontas, I don't know where to find her. So make a long story short, just happened, England Scotland Yard, our Home Office have a conference. They invite me to attend as one of the speakers. That time in England have a very famous forensic scientist, Stuart Kine, Dr. Kine, K-I-N-E, Kine. He made an arrangement for me to go to Home Office to look at the original document.
Wow. So the original documents from the 1600s, 400 years.
I think it's 1600 or 1800, I forgot. 1862 or 1682, something, okay?
Right, yes.
So I look at the record. I found an entry. Those big books.
Wow.
And really nice penmanship wrote on that day, Pocahontas had tea with the Queen. Queen actually met Pocahontas 3 times. But her husband was not invited because he is a common man, just a sea captain. Pocahontas is a princess.
Yes.
So in fact, we established Pocahontas is in England during that period of time. Then the last entry, Pocahontas died in Gravesend,
which is a small port. Kent. A very, very small port, but now it's a tiny village.
Thomas River, yeah.
But it's massive. In those days, it was one of the great ports of England.
Right. Wow, you know your history. You know England.
I love my maritime history, and Gravesend was a massive port in those days. So if Princess Pocahontas, and let's call her that, we'll call her Princess Pocahontas, if she was going to go back to the America, that's probably where she was going to sail from.
Right.
So, but we've got a note now in a ledger saying she died in Gravesend. Okay, please go on. This is fascinating.
So I said, okay, that's a clue. Gravesend is not going to be a big city.
Yes.
But you're right. Early days, it's a huge city. Now, very small. So I said, let's go to Gravesend. So we went to Gravesend. We went to the city hall, checked the record. I have to give credit. England keep good records. It's a buried in church ground. She died of smallpox.
Wow. Which was the killer in those days, particularly for the indigenous. Those days. Yes.
So church ground. We found out in 16 whatever.
Yes.
That's have 2 churches in Gravesend. One called St. George, one called St. Mary.
Okay.
St. George is in the town center. Still in there. So first thing I go to St. George. Have a Pocahontas square. Have Pocahontas statue. Have Pocahontas garden. Everything named after Pocahontas.
In this
So I went
little
to the
tiny
church.
English village. It's
Yeah.
all the center is still named Pocahontas. Wow.
Yeah, Pocahontas Square, they call it. And I have a statue. Well, maybe next time show you some of those slides.
Please.
So pretty interesting. So I look around, have all the old graves in the yard. So the pastor come out, meet with me. He said, Dr. Lee, I heard your name before. I said, I really want to thank you to meet with me. We want to look around, try to find any clue about Pocahontas. They saw postcard, Pocahontas postcard. I forgot, it's about £1 or something a piece,
Right.
pretty expensive.
Oh, you gotta make
10,
your money somehow.
try to
Yes.
take good side with the pastor, about 10 of the postcard. I thought he going to help me. He said, no, Dr. Lee, we cannot let you dead. I said, why? He said, if you dead, you cannot find Pocahontas. Then our church is finished. Because now the church, basically the tourists visit, especially Americans. When they go there, they all go there, buy some postcard, make some donations, take some pictures. He said, in addition, your country already come here during World War II. Almost start a big riot because the residents really annoyed, feel offended when American people went to the church, start digging. They found nothing.
So let me just sorry, Dr. Lee, let me just review this. So you're at the Gravesend Church, you're meeting the parish priest. You say, I'm going to buy 10 postcards, hoping that we'll get into. And he's like, no. If I let you dig and you bring Princess Pocahontas back to America, we go bankrupt. We have nothing here. We got all these American tourists.
If you do not find Pocahontas,
right,
we have nothing. If you find Pocahontas, you take back to America. Right. We got nothing too.
We've got nothing. And that's going to be very expensive 10-pound postcards for him.
Yeah, exactly. Also, World War II already did not find Pocahontas. So I went to the record, tried to figure it out who went there did.
Yes.
Turned out President Roosevelt and sent a delegation and went there did. They found some chicken bone and cow, found quite a few bodies, but no Pocahontas.
So this is before D-Day. This is before the Americans and the Canadians and the British have invaded France to begin the end of the Second World War. Right. The American soldiers are there, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt says to American soldiers, go to Gravesend Church.
Oh, apparently Congress request. Some people request. So they went there dead. So a lot of, apparently, I don't know all the fact. Okay. Yes. I just based on the record. So bottom line, Pocahontas is not there. Then later I checked the record, so-called paper chase.
Yes.
Found out St. Thomas was burned down twice in 17th century, 18th century. This is much later rebuilt. So we really don't know where's the original church location. Is that the spot?
Yes.
Or 18th century later, rebuilt it. I look at all those grave placards. It's all 18th century later. Nothing, before. So we kind of stuck.
Right.
But I was thinking, I say, smallpox in 16th century, pretty serious thing. They're not going to bury somebody died of smallpox in a town center. Just like now, people have coronavirus. They're not going to bury in the center of the town in Greek, right? So I said, most likely bury in the outskirts of the town. That's Samaria. So went to the Samaria side. Samaria, because early days church structures, wooden structure, also burned down, but never rebuilt. The side now become a bar called White Horse Inn. So we start looking around a little bit.
And I'm sorry, Dr. Lee, I just want to say, who is your team now? Because this is a 400-year-old detective chase now. And I love this story. I thought we were going to be talking about crime and murder from now, but we started our episodes with you really back. So you're in Gravesend, you're in just outside the tavern, the White Horse Tavern. Who is your team? Are there still policemen or are there students? Who is working with you?
No, my counterpart at the corner of London or Essex is a medical coroner.
So you have the coroner from London, your counterpart from
and my wife, three of us.
Wow.
When I think back, it's kind of funny. Okay. So the coroner, what his name? Ron. He's pretty short.
Okay.
Sort of classic British gentleman type of thing. So three of us look around. All of a sudden, a big lady, giant lady, come out of the bar with a stick. So Ron turned around, running. My wife followed him, running. Left me behind. Run away. He's just a friend. But my wife, when we got married, good or bad, we have to stick together. She ran away. Let me face this big lady. So, what you doing, fellow? I said, man, that's looking like a historical site. She's so happy. I've been telling everybody this is a historical site. I like you. So she gave me a bear hug, almost killed me. Now, my wife started running back because another woman hugged me. She doesn't like that. So she said, let's go inside talk. Let's drink. So Ron and my wife and me, we all got to the bar. It's a very sleazy bar, painted in purple. She took 2 pitchers of beer, put on table. Let's drink. Ron doesn't drink. My wife doesn't drink. I really like a beer once in a while, but the one pitcher, she just picked up the pitcher, it's gone. I pick up the pitcher. My hair starts sticking up just like yours, right? And my eyeballs start moving, and I finally finish a whole pitcher. She's so happy. I like you so much. Let's have another one. I said, no, lady. Let's talk about Pocahontas. Let's talk. So she said, Pocahontas is buried here. I said, wow. You see, I'm a good detective. I said, okay, where? She said, let me show you. I said, okay. After we found Pocahontas, I buy 10 pitchers of beer. Let's drink. So she took a lantern, took us to the sub-basement. You know, all those early days,
Yes.
British houses, you know, it's go down,
And then
narrow
goes down
stair,
again. Yes.
and go down again, and the arch. She put a lot of stuff, sort of boxes, everything. So her son, equally huge like her, moved some boxes. Now, like those old movies, little underground arch, a tunnel. I said, wow.
I've got to say, this is like Indiana Jones. This is really
it's
like
kind
Indiana Jones.
Except,
like, so you are
except
now
I don't
under.
have a whip.
You don't have the whip, but you've got two women, and you've got London's coroner, who's, you know, useless, obviously, if anybody's going to attack you. You're in a subterranean basement, and you've just discovered a tunnel, and you're looking for Princess Pocahontas' grave. Keep going.
So
this
walking.
Is amazing. Yes.
She is the first one with a lantern. I'm the second one. My wife is third, and Ryan is the fourth. Her son is the last one with a shovel. So we walk, the tunnel got narrower, narrower. She barely moving
It's
around.
true. Yeah.
All of a sudden, the nightmare got to my mind. I said, holy smoke, if we stuck in there, nobody even know. Nobody even rescue us. If the tunnel collapsed, we're going to bury them. 200 years later, one of you probably go to England to dig me up. I said, lady, let's do a different formation. Your son is younger. Go first. You second. I'm the third. Run the fourth, my wife the last. Just in case my wife can run first. Right? We just turn around. So we start feeling the water dripping on our head, our clothes. It's kind of so dark. Odor. It's kind of unbearable. I don't know how long we're crying. She said, here. I said, how did you know it's here? She said, I had a dream. Wow. She had a dream. I cannot say too much to her. I don't trust dream, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if she got mad, I probably got killed there, right? I say, that's really good. Is your dream in color or black and white? She said, full color. Now I know that's bullshit because most of the people's dream some color, but predominantly black and white, no color. Okay, so I said, let's mark the area. We need some equipment, not the shovel. We can't even do the shovel because if we start digging, probably the whole city cave. We don't even know where we are. Maybe in the town center or someplace. I said, mark here, and we come back. So finally, we crawl out, back to the bar, have another picture, and I thank her very much. So I want to do more research before we start digging. So after we back to United States, we look at some more documents, and I don't think Pocahontas in that area because the city over those 400 years changed quite a bit. So must be somewhere in Gravesend, but need more study and before we do any digging. So I wrote a big report out. So any of you interested, I can lend it to you. Future, if you guys interested to do the exploration, I can transfer the project to you.
I would love to do that. One of my heroes is Angie Ambers. Angie has been on this program talking about her archaeological work in De La Salle's expedition.
We have to find Pocahontas first.
I will find it, and you guys identify the bones. That's the promise. I will find it, and I'll bring Ryan and Aidan along as our researchers. We can do this.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
The gauntlet has been thrown down. Professor Lee, thank you so much for this. This has been brilliant. The only thing we ask is, would you please come back and talk about the investigation of the Kennedy assassination that you did in some of your other cases.
Okay, buy me a cup of coffee. Okay, I will be back.
Hey, this is Declan. On behalf of Aidan Van Battenberg and Ryan Decker, the producers, and of course, Dr. Henry C. Lee, I want to thank you for joining us for this program. As you can hear right at the end, there's a commitment made by myself and the two student producers to pursue this national treasure story, really trying to find the remains of Pocahontas. I'll be going to the UK in the next couple of months. If there are any listeners who have tips, who have ideas, or just possible suggestions, please get in contact with us. The great untold secret of British archaeology in the last 100 years is pretty much every single major discovery has been done by amateurs, by working class enthusiasts or middle class people who've been excluded from the establishment. So please, unorthodox ideas, suggestions on how to track down Pocahontas's remains would be very much appreciated. For everyone, please like, subscribe, comment. We really, really do appreciate that. And thanks again for listening.